Wild boar, the rise of a silent invasion. What if everything we thought we knew about wild boars was wrong? We've called them invaders, destroyers, monsters tearing through farmland and forests alike. But what if behind that chaos lies something far more complex, a story of survival, power, and the fragile balance between man and nature? Tonight, we uncover the rise of one of the most unstoppable forces on Earth. This is Wild Boar, the rise of a silent invasion. Chapter 1, The Animal That Wouldn't Die. Wild boars, Sus scrofa, are not new to the planet. They've walked this earth for millions of years, surviving ice ages, droughts, and extinction events that wiped out creatures far stronger and larger than them. They are survivors, adaptable, intelligent, and astonishingly resilient. And in the modern age, that resilience has become our nightmare. In 2025, the global wild boar population is estimated to exceed 30 million animals, and growing fast. In the United States alone, experts say there are now over 6.9 million feral hogs roaming across at least 35 states. Their numbers have tripled in just 3 decades. In Germany, France, and Italy, wild boars now cause more damage to crops than any other animal species combined. And in Japan, boars have reclaimed abandoned farmland after the Fukushima nuclear disaster, thriving in radiation zones where humans cannot. They are the ultimate opportunists. And we have given them a world to conquer. Chapter 2, The Great Escape. How did this happen? How did one animal spread across the globe like a living wildfire? The story begins centuries ago. Europe's forests were once filled with wild boars, hunted by kings, feared by peasants. But by the early 1900s, they had almost vanished from many parts of the continent. Then, humans did what humans always do, we brought them back. Hunters reintroduced wild boars for sport. Game farms raised them for meat. And when fences broke, or storms hit, they escaped. In the 1980s, the first feral pigs in Texas were released from private ranches. Within years, they spread across the state like wildfire. Today, they cover over 240,000 square kilometers, a landmass the size of the UK. In Australia, they arrived with European settlers in the late 18th century. By 2025, feral pigs occupy 40% of the continent, threatening endangered species and ancient aboriginal lands. In Brazil, wild boars, or javalis, invaded from Uruguay and Argentina, attacking livestock and displacing native peccaries. What began as isolated escapes has turned into a global invasion. Chapter 3, The Billion-Dollar Beast. The damage is staggering. Every year, wild boars cause over $2.5 billion in agricultural losses in the United States alone. Globally, the figure exceeds $5 billion, and it's climbing. They dig, root, and trample through everything, destroying crops, irrigation lines, and fences. One herd can annihilate an entire field of corn overnight. In France, vineyards have lost entire harvests. In India, farmers report attacks on rice and sugarcane. In Japan, boars have learned to raid homes, pushing open sliding doors, stealing food from pantries. They come at night, says an old farmer in rural Italy. We hear them before we see them. The ground shakes. You can't fight them alone. Wild boars are more than a pest, they're a biological bulldozer. Each animal can dig up 3 tons of soil per year, eroding forests and wetlands. They eat the eggs of ground nesting birds, uproot native plants, and destroy the very foundation of entire ecosystems. And when they invade cities, chaos follows. In Berlin, wild boars roam through suburban gardens. In Hong Kong, they raid dumpsters and confront joggers in public parks. In Rome, a mother boar was filmed leading 6 piglets through morning traffic. The wild is no longer separate. From our world. It's knocking at our door. Chapter 4, A Reproductive Machine. What makes wild boars so unstoppable? One word, reproduction. A female boar, or sow, can give birth twice a year, each time producing 4 to 12 piglets. In warm climates, breeding can happen year-round. That means a single pair of boars can create dozens of descendants in just a few years, and those descendants breed just as quickly. It's a biological time bomb. In Texas, population models show that even if 70% of the population is culled each year, the numbers can still rebound. That's how fast they multiply. They are clever too. Hunted animals learn. They adapt. They become nocturnal, avoid traps, recognize gunfire. Some have been recorded swimming across rivers and even crossing icy lakes to find new territory. In Poland, wild boars have learned to feed on city compost. In South Korea, they hide in mountain tunnels during the day, emerging at night to raid farms. They are evolving with us. And for every one we catch, 10 more are born. Chapter 5, The Hunter's Frontline. For centuries, humans and boars have fought a battle of wits and endurance. But now, it's no longer about sport. It's survival. Across the southern United States, hunters ride from helicopters, aerial marksmen in a modern war against an ancient foe. Each year, tens of thousands of hogs are culled this way. In Germany, organized, driven hunts bring together hundreds of volunteers. In Japan, local governments pay bounties for each animal captured or killed. But even with all this effort, the numbers barely move. Experts estimate that to stabilize the population, 65 to 70% of boars must be removed every year. But current efforts rarely exceed 25 to 30%. The math doesn't lie. We're losing the fight. Chapter 6, The Invisible Threat, Disease. There's another danger lurking beneath the surf. ACE, one that threatens not just crops, but lives. Wild boars carry dozens of diseases that can spread to livestock and humans alike. Among the most feared, African swine fever, ASF. This viral plague has decimated domestic pig populations across Eastern Europe, China, and Southeast Asia, costing the global pork industry over $100 billion since 2018. Boars are silent carriers. They roam across borders, spreading the virus to farms that never see them coming. In Poland, infected boars forced the destruction of thousands of farm pigs. In China, entire provinces were put under lockdown to contain outbreaks. Even the United States has built a national task force, a defensive wall against the possible arrival of ASF from Mexico. The disease doesn't affect humans directly, but it can cripple economies and wipe out food supplies. For farmers, it's not just a wild animal problem anymore. It's a national security threat. Chapter 7, The Human Cost. For most people, the wild boar is a headline, a curiosity on the news, a viral clip of animals charging through city streets. But for farmers like Lydia from Texas, it's not a story. It's survival. They tore through my soy field in one night. 30 acres, gone. You stand there in the morning and it feels like a bomb went off. I've worked that land for 20 years. You start to wonder why you even keep trying. Every destroyed crop means another unpaid bill. Another sleepless night. Some farmers have lost entire annual incomes to boar raids. And yet, for many, the worst part isn't the financial loss. It's the helplessness. The feeling that you are fighting an enemy that doesn't sleep, doesn't negotiate, doesn't stop. In Australia, ranchers use helicopters, drones, and thermal scopes, spending millions annually just to defend their herds. In Italy, insurance companies have stopped covering boar damage altogether. And in Japan's Wakayama prefecture, elderly villagers have abandoned their ancestral homes because wild pigs keep returning every night. It's not safe anymore. You can't walk outside after dark. We used to have neighbors, now only the boars remain. This isn't just about wildlife anymore. It's about people losing the places they built their lives. They roam when we sleep. Silent. Ruthless. Unstoppable. But beneath the chaos, there's a lesson carved into every broken field and uprooted tree. That the wild never truly disappears. It waits, until we forget. We created this invasion. We unleashed this storm. And now, as we face its fury, we also face ourselves. For in the reflection of their eyes, we see our own hunger, our own ambition, our own fight to survive. This is not the end of the story. It's the beginning of an awakening. Because the wild is not our enemy. It is our origin. Our reminder. Our mirror. So as the sun rises over scarred fields and haunted forests, ask yourself, are we at war with nature? Or are we just trying to remember where we belong? Stay sharp. Stay curious. Stay human. Because the wild is watching, and so, as the dust settles over the broken fields and the moon rises over scarred earth, the truth stands clear: this is no longer just a battle between man and beast. It's a story about survival, adaptation, and respect for the wild power we once thought we controlled. The wild boars, once livestock, are now legends of the untamed frontier, a reminder that nature never yields quietly. They outsmarted our traps, defied our poisons, and thrived in the shadows of our cities. And as we look toward the future, the question remains, can we reclaim the balance, or have we created a force too wild to stop? This is the war for the wild. And it's far from over. If you've stood on these front lines, if you've seen the destruction, the intelligence, the unstoppable